No. We're very close to getting someone at the moment. We're just in the final stages.
Has there been a bit of a hold-up, or is this just how long it takes?
Yeah, it's just a bit of a unique case. Probably would have been done earlier, maybe about a week ago. But when we unveil the signing, we'll just make it clear what the scenario was.
Yeah. So when are you expecting them to be here and ready to play?
I'm hoping they'll be in early next week, and hopefully be on feet straight away. Availability will really depend on screening and so on. So I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks.
And it will be an import? I know you can't really probably say.
No, it'll be an import. Yeah. I'm not hiding anything. Yeah, definitely be an import.
Because with transfer windows and stuff closing in Europe, with imports, do you sort of have to wait for that to play out, or is someone quite keen to come to the A-League early? Like, how does that sort of work?
Yeah, so we've looked across multiple markets, South America, Europe. Europe's a little bit more unique in the sense that obviously a lot of European targets a majority want to stay in Europe, so they usually wait for the transfer deadline day to pass before they start exploring, outside options, Asia and so on. South America is a little bit different, but again, we've kind of scoured or searched everywhere for a suitable replacement, and we think we've done a really good job.
So they're coming from South America?
No. That's the only clue I'll give you, Phil.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of Brisbane, does this feel like quite an important game for your season? You need to beat the teams below you, especially at home as well.
Look, it'd be great to win at home. I think any successful team, they make their home a fortress. It's very important. But look, I think I mentioned this last time in the last press conference. My focus now is game by game. I'm not focusing on the 6 or the 4. I'm literally just focusing on half to half, making sure we put in some good performances. I think this refocus from the group as a collective has been very positive since Adelaide. I can see a real focus back in the group, and again, I don't want to talk about the 6 because I think any talk about something that's in the future is just going to create some sort of anxiety, or I don't want that. I just want the prime focus on just our performance, and if we're good enough, we'll make it. If we're not, so be it.
Because what do you make of Brisbane? The 5 points, on track to be one of the worst teams of all time, but it seems like in games they're not necessarily getting smashed.
Well, I'll give you an interesting stat. They have almost double the highest shot ratio to any team in the A-League, which means that they're actually one of the most dangerous teams. Where they're not effective is in terms of conversion rate, and that could be inexperience, but for the fact that they've got high creation output means that they're doing something right. And you saw, Sydney, they absolutely, destroyed them in that first 60 minutes and, scored 4 goals. So they have the potential to hurt any teams. And if you ask the coaching staff, one team that we feared playing at the beginning of the year was Brisbane because they were doing so well in all their games, they just couldn't capitalise. So we give them a lot of respect, and we're not going to the game thinking, it's an easy game. Far from it. They're going to be a hard game, and if we win, it's going to be well earned.
How far away is Alex Rufer from featuring? Is this week too soon for him?
But yeah, I don't see any time soon. He's back on feet, which is a good sign. It's just more about how he recovers from training and just a long process, the grind of day-to-day activities. So it is promising, but again, I'm just I'm a little bit. I don't want to give predictions because anytime you make a prediction, you always jinx things. So we'll just play it cautiously.
Is Tim in line for a start, and what capability will he have?
Again, the risk that we have of starting Tim at the moment is that there could be a higher risk if he plays a lot of minutes, and that's also due to the amount of training he's been available for the last couple of weeks. So again, I think probably more of a cameo, roll off the bench and just integrate him over the next couple of weeks and build his loads and then make sure he's fit for the last stretch of games.
How important is having him back, along with hopefully Alex at some point, to sort of turning around?
Yeah, I think. Look, one thing our squad is that we rely heavily on a lot of the guys that have been here for a long period. I like to think that we have overall a strong squad in the sense that every player is valuable, as opposed to having 3 or 4 standout individuals and the rest of the team work for those players. So whenever we lose one of these players, let alone 2, 3, it's a big chunk of our team. So having them back in the dressing room, leadership as well, it's very important. So I'm really looking forward to those 2 players coming back in the short term, and then once we get our visa and so on, and the fact that the team's progressing nicely at the moment in terms of just grinding away and working on all the stuff that our game model and so on. It'll be positive.
What's sort of the dynamic like in the goalkeeping stocks at the moment with sort of Josh and Albie following the change a few weeks ago?
Very competitive. There's a healthy respect between all the goalkeepers. Good relationship with the goalkeeper coach as well. To be fair, Josh has been really good at training. He's refocused and wanting to prove that he wants to be number one, and given the opportunity again, that he's ready for it. And Albie's been working very, very hard, and Dublin as well. Our third keeper's been working very hard as well. So it's healthy. It's good. I think any really good environment, especially competitive environment, you need to have healthy competition between 4 places. That drives competition, and also a good understanding and respect for each other, which goes a long way.
Do you like having Kazu getting just in a more advanced role? Do you think that's been a beneficial move?
Yeah, I think more experience and identifying moments where he can just playing behind Costa. I think they're kind of finding their feet at the moment. My plans at the beginning of the year were my front 3 were going to be Costa, Shigi and Marco, and build on that relationship. Unfortunately, I've only had 2 halves of football all year with those 3 playing, and you saw little glimpses of it against MacArthur, and even in a friendly we had against Wanderers beginning of the year, it looked really nice. So I'll put more pressure on Kazu now to step up a little bit higher. He's played in those roles before. Was traditionally number 10 in his earlier career, but as he's aged a little bit, he's moved more to an 8-6 role. So it's going to be more about time for him and getting used to that role again, and finding his relationship with Costa and Shigi and so on. But if you look week before against Central Coast, he got into some dangerous areas, almost got 2 penalties. The week before against MacArthur, he set up Shigi's goal, which was really nice. And again, it's more about him finding his feet in that role and getting comfortable with it.
Did you get an offer for Luke Supek? There were some rumours online on the weekend that Stoke City were keen on it.
I think there was some interest from a club, but I'm not sure where that is at the moment.
Because is he someone that you do want to hold on to? I mean, he's one of your younger players.
Every player that I've signed, I want to keep on to. Feel like it's for me. I'm really happy for him that he has interest from a club, and there are other players that have had interest and so on. But any signing we make, we want to keep him here as long as possible. But if it's the right move for him and it's the right offer, we're more than happy, to aid him in his progress.
Because would that be the right move for someone quite young? I mean, he's played like a total of 100 minutes of professional football, I think.
Look, I think, it's a case-by-case scenario. I think that with any young player, obviously the eagerness is to go overseas and wanting to, explore those, those opportunities. But, it's like anything, if they're not ready, not so much from a technical level, but even from a mental aspect, going over there can be sometimes just a long stretch in the reserves or the under-23s or the under-20s and so on, and they come back and they might have been better served here playing longer periods in the A-League and, building that maturity. I think if you look at every successful player that's moved out of the A-League, I give Oldie as an example. He was 4 years in the environment. It didn't happen overnight. It took him a long period. Even Wayno, when he left to go overseas, is kind of finding it hard now to get some regular game time. But he was in the environment for a couple of years as well. I think the only exception, out of all the players I've seen so far, it was Libby. He was probably the most fast-track player, and he was still here for 2 seasons. I think I think the right move for majority players is to get as much experience as they can, learn to deal with the rigors of playing with men, and dealing with the environment before taking that next step. But again, if the right offer and the player feels that they can do it, then good luck to them.
So with the transfer window closed over there, like he is staying for the rest of the season with the Phoenix, is that?
Yeah, well, so far, he hasn't moved, so it's status quo
And so with the new signing, it's just one coming in?
at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.